That's a weird way to put a mic up, don't you think? Today's topic it's not very pleasant. So I'm sure that many of you have probably seen this stupid ass podcast clip that was circulating quite a bit. It's from Diary of a CEO. First and foremost, if someone's podcast has that type of name, you should expect some type of nonsense, especially when it comes to it being bourgeois worshipping type of nonsense, okay? They would have an interview with an actor or actress or whatever the hell here and there. And sometimes I would see clips circulating. And whenever I saw the name, I was like, you know what? This is definitely gonna be some bullshit just because with a name like that, you know that the podcast started from a place of catering to people who are kind of like teach you how to become rich and stuff like that, like all of that rich dad, poor dad bullshit, you know. Not a great start for a podcast, I would say. Definitely not something that not a podcast that you will go to if you are an educated person. Not a place you would go to for any sort of like information. Maybe to watch an interview of your favorite actor, but then again, why are they there kind of thing?
Just said that a huge amount of men between the age of 15 and 50 will not pass on their genes. They will effectively die out of the gene mating pool. So people will hear that, and many people, that's evolution. Yeah. Should society intervene? You know, in the short term, we're going to have a lot of men who are disillusioned, that become incels, find themselves in pockets of the internet, are resentful, all those kinds of things. But should society intervene to course correct that? Should we put systems in place to make sure that those men meet partners?
I'm going to answer that question with a question. If, let's say, a huge swath of people are out from cancer, should we intervene with that?
Yes.
If a huge swath of people are out from like a virus, should we intervene
100%.
with that? So I think there are two important things.
One it's slightly different though.
One is about
yeah.
So one is like if a human being is dying, we should step in. But natural selection isn't necessarily about this is what's really tricky about it.
I was going to be very civil about this. Well, no, I wasn't. But you know what? I just want to say, to begin with, the fact that they were framing this conversation in such a way that's supposed to show, or at least it's showing that they think that they did something. They think that they actually did something here, which is, it's a lot, considering that what they are suggesting, what they're talking about, comparing not procreating with having a disease that's going to kill you is so ridiculous on so many levels. And the fact that they are having this conversation with a straight face is genuinely disturbing. I think what I didn't like about the conversation that was going on, because people did respond to this, obviously. A lot of people were like, are you mad? Are you dumb? That kind of stuff, which is like very fair. A lot of people who were responding to it, they weren't mad enough or weren't direct enough in terms of responding to what they're actually suggesting. Because I think that this is what cowards do, by the way. They kind of do this type of shit as these two men did. It's this approach where you frame something as a necessity, which isn't a necessity, then you frame everything around, everything in the conversation in a way where you're basically describing everything that would lead to a certain path. But you don't say the actual path. You don't name it. You don't actually put it into words, what you're actually suggesting here. Because it would sound so fucked that you wouldn't be able to stand up to the scrutiny. You'd be absolutely bombarded with a lot of criticism, which you should be. But on top of it all, if you've ever dealt with any type of illness or anything like that, it's so insulting to suggest that someone having access to procreation is on the same level as someone, or the same type of need that a patient who's terminal has, the same need for survival as procreation. You guys will come up with anything to be fucking freaks. I swear to God. I think this is definitely giving me the same heebie-jeebies as reading any and all writings that were like fasci writing, you know. Every single thing that they say is so diabolical to the point where it's just insufferable to even waste your time explaining to people or discussing it to begin with. The reason why I'm even discussing it is because it's just such a dangerous idea to even throw around. Because the thing is, what do they actually mean here? Because they will tell us that they mean that there needs to be something done. We need to maybe incentivize people to, go out more, or like see each other more, give chances to people who you might not normally like, or something like that. But they don't mean that, because this has been part of society for as long as patriarchy was around, and that didn't really help. Like, all of those things that people do to accommodate, well, men in general, don't really work that well. They're still aggressive and stuff like that. And this is what's kind of the worst part, is that they genuinely suggest that the solution to aggression is society intervening to basically provide them with a mate. That's so nuts on so many levels. It's so gross. They are just suggesting slavery of half of the population. Or at least slavery of a proportion of the population that would be needed to satisfy the needs of that group that they're discussing. This is so fucking weird. The tone of voice that they use, the seriousness with which they discuss it, the fact that they are equating all those things. This is basically people sitting down and suggesting literal slavery, people sitting down and suggesting trafficking, but institutionalized, so it wouldn't be illegal. It would be morally right because it's not going to be illegal, which is also very fun, fresh. I love when people use laws as a morality guide. People should have been outraged to the point where we should just take away the mics from those people, from that guy who runs that CEO of a Diary of a CEO podcast. Can you imagine if I just walked in here and said, actually, we should make all men slaves? We will impregnate them. We will make sure that they are incubators and that they do it and they give natural birth without. Actually, also take away the pain relief too, because apparently that's a thing that they're really obsessed with recently. What is going on with you people? Like, I think at that moment, if you're suggesting things like that, if you genuinely believe in legitimacy of literal slavery like this, are you even a person anymore? Can you be considered a person at that point? This is some fashy shit. This is Nazi behavior. And you already know what I think about that. So I was going to have a whole discussion on this, and I'm going to be so real with you. I just genuinely hate this whole situation so much. I cannot believe that this type of bullshit was said, and that a lot of people who were commenting on it, were criticizing it, did not say the quiet part out loud, which is, oh, so they just came in, suggested slavery, and now they think everyone is supposed to be taking them seriously because they just said it in such a calm tone. It must be true if they said it without, really loud emotions. It must be true if they discussed it in a way that's easy to understand. It must be true and a really good idea if they followed classic structure of recalling the information in just 3 simple sentences at the end of the conversation to make sure that you solidify the idea in the minds of whomever was listening, who doesn't actually listen. So you have to repeat yourself multiple times. The whole situation, so gross. Sorry to say, I guess. It's just absolutely fucked. Like, those people, whatever. I think even though I prepared a lot more notes on this, I genuinely don't think I can even get through them, because I just need you to look at that clip and mark it down in your head that this podcast is not to be listened to. If you see anyone listening to it, let them know. I was quite surprised to see how many people finally, not stood up for themselves, I guess, but put their foot down when it comes to stupid shit like ticket sales and stuff like that. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but I'm not really a Harry Styles fan. I think that I listened to his first album when I liked his first album because when it came out, I was probably like, I don't remember which year he released it, but I enjoyed it because I liked him casually, I guess. Not really, like, I didn't know all the lore and shit like that. I don't know the One Directioner kind of life, but we're close in age. He's only a few years older than me. And I think that to me, that first album was like, okay, it wasn't anything groundbreaking. There was nothing deep about it. Not a single song, that was him discovering something about himself or about the world. It was nothing profound in any capacity, but it was fun, right? And then after that, I kind of wrapped it up. Like, I did not stick around for all the other albums. I don't think I listen to that many male artists anymore. They just they're a bit boring, especially in their visuals, so I don't really give a damn. But I think it's just really weird that for years, I've seen people do like really dumb shit when it comes to tickets, which wasn't on Harry per se. Actually, it wasn't on him really, because he was selling his tickets for, in my opinion, too high of a price. It's kind of the same situation as, with Taylor Swift, with any other fucking artist nowadays. The most normal seats that are not like VIP, they're not literally at the stage or anything like that. You still pay $200 or like $300. It's crazy. It's an insane amount of money. And I do know a lot of people who just like don't care how much it costs. They will pay anything just because first of all, they just don't like planning ahead. So they don't mind buying it off of scalpers and stuff like that. So like some of my acquaintances, they would do something like not buy an Adele ticket, but then on the day off decided they want to go and then buy it for like a few $1,000s. And it's like, what the hell what are you doing? You know what I mean? But here, this time around, Harry Styles decided to do something that is so diabolical. I honestly, I hope that people are not going to buy all of those tickets. I know there's going to be someone, because there's always people who are so rich that they would just like buy 20 tickets for the same show just to like sell out a show for their favorite artist or whatever. There's a lot of those in like the K-pop realm, right? So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it sells out. I just don't think it would be organic sales. And I also don't think that he will keep his reputation. By the way, we got to talk about that and about like treat people with kindness bullshit, because once again, this is one of those things that you need to keep in mind, kind of like with the Diary of a CEO thing. There are certain things that are kind of just mildly neutral or kind of sounding pretty good on paper in a way where it's like you can't really criticize it, but it is usually used by people who are fence sitters in a sense of being just like capital dick riders. Like they don't give a fuck about what happens to anybody else but them and their capital. That's it. Now, the tickets that Harry decided to sell, he first of all put it as dynamic pricing, which is like the more demand there is, the higher the ticket price would be, right? But then on top of it all, he basically did this thing where him and his team calculated the fees ahead of time. You could do that and kind of predict how much. There's a lot of like algorithms you could use. There's a lot of people who use machine learning and other things like that to predict the exact price something needs to be for it to be the highest price that someone would pay before they decide that it's just not worth it anymore, right? So this calculation usually involves like other acts that are about the same, has a similar audience, acts that have the same level of fame, other things like that. So now that Harry had consistent success for a few years, I think that he's gotten, I think he's always probably been greedy. And also, I don't think he's particularly, how do I say this? I don't think he's smart. So sometimes I think that someone is just not smart enough to understand geopolitics and the economy, and like having views that make sense for human existence and stuff like that. But then I remember that sometimes people are just like evil. So which one is it? Like, are you an asshole or are you just dumb? I'm willing to bet that he's gonna go with a dumb look, whether he is or not. I think he's going to go with that look just because it's going to save his career. Just being like, oh, I'm just so dumb, you guys. I just didn't know. I'm just so ignorant. Like, it's just I'm like in a bubble, and because of my fame, I like don't meet people the same way. I'm like so isolated. Yada 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 yada. The ticket price for, you know, like this, not the floor seats, but the ones that are like on the bowl already. Is that what it's called? Like the bowl? I don't know what the seats are exactly, but if you are in a stadium, there's like there's the pit where it's like, I've never been. The pit is literally about Harry Styles concert, by the way. But beyond that, I think basically you have the pit, which is really like standing up close up to the stage, yada yada. Then there's like the sitting area, usually on the floor too. It depends on the concert, honestly, but usually there's the floor seats, which are more expensive because you're really close to the stage. And then there's the seats in the actual like stadium, right? On the bleachers kind of. And the bleachers seats were fucking $1,000. Okay. The people who were looking at tickets in the UK, I believe that because, you know, like there's more restrictions on how expensive a ticket can be in Europe. So there's a lot of like restrictions on that. It kind of slowed down this craze a little bit, but it's getting bad there too. And the price there was about £700, which is, for those of you who are like counting in Canadian money, in Canadian dollars like I do, it's literally, that can't be fucking right. That's so crazy. 1,200, 1,400, upwards to 1,400 Canadian dollars, dude. You know, the EI, like unemployment or employment insurance that you get when you get laid off or something like that is 2,000 Canadian. 1,400 for one ticket to see Harry Styles, and that's in London or somewhere in the UK or wherever the hell he is. Which the this is such a crazy ticket price, and this not, by the way, just so we guys are clear, these are not scalpers. Okay, this is Harry and his team deciding that they would like to sell the tickets for the highest amount possible depending on the demand. So if someone would still continue to click on buy the ticket or try to get in line and whatever to buy the tickets, the price would just go up and up and up and up. And also the floor of that price, like the lowest it could be, is literally still, I believe that people were looking at it on other days and stuff like that. And when he added extra days afterwards, when they sold out, the price dropped because obviously there's other options now, other days in the same city. And it dropped to still like 500. It's so diabolical knowing how little money there is in rotation right now out there. All of it is hoarded. Like all of the resources are hoarded at the very top with like fucking 60 guys max. And everybody else is like fighting for scraps. And the fact that he did this, it's so diabolical because I do want to remind you guys that his whole shtick was that he was like working at a bakery and how like he's coming from such humble beginnings. He's just like a really humble little boy. I think that a lot of people don't realize that, yes, there are difficulties when it comes to being so popular, so young, and being so overworked for the label or whoever else. But it's also a thing of like never actually knowing a life of an artist, of an average artist, someone who'd never made it during their lifetime, like Van Gogh, for example, right? Even though he was fine because he had like connections and whatever, he was still part of the aristocracy. It's just one of those things where this is not a type of person who spent his entire life on his craft and just loves his craft so much, so he was okay with not being successful as long as he could continue to do it or whatever. This is somebody who got so astronomically popular so young that he never had to actually experience any of the difficulties of life. All of his difficulties come from like nonsense, like things that are not that bad. Like they're just not that difficult to deal with. Some of it is obviously still going to be very human, like there's still going to be death in his life and stuff like that. But it's just one of those things where you kind of sit down and you're like, this is a question of money, right? The tickets and everything. You say that you came from nothing, but this is how you behave. You've been a millionaire since you were, what, 18? Maybe 20? When he would actually get like good checks. I don't know, bitch. I don't know how old he was. I don't remember exactly. I know he was about 18, or I don't know. And it's just one of those things when you're like, girl, don't you still have connections to the place where you grew up? And like, don't you know people who were your friends and like extended family who were struggling through the past 10, 15 years? How are you genuinely, this is why the question here is genuinely, it's either he's evil, like just an asshole, or he's just dumb. And I do want to mention other things like for context, we'll return to his like merch and other things like that, because there's something to be said there too. But I recently was looking at Pink Pantheress and like her tickets for her tour, and she actually, even though she sells through Ticketmaster, I believe anyway, because like honestly I think that with most venues, because you kind of have to deal with venues, right? Obviously you need a venue where to perform, and they work with Ticketmaster, so you kind of have to use Ticketmaster, whatever. But the point here is she opted out of dynamic pricing. So all of the tickets, you could actually get a ticket to go see her for like $70. And there's obviously VIP tickets, like, you know, all of those packages that would be like $300, $500, whatever the hell. But the general ticket was a very reasonable price. With also, whenever people are talking about how like it costs money to travel and to like, you know, have concerts put up and whatever, you have to have with this whole crew, you have to have this stage. First of all, Harry doesn't do anything with his stage. His performances are not that big of a show, okay? He just prances around, which is like good for him, but it doesn't cost that much to do. You don't need somebody dealing with pyrotechnical stuff. So it's kind of like at the same time this shit is happening, right? Pink Panther is actually having a really good year right now. She's definitely going to sell out her concerts and everything. And even though she's obviously not as big as Harry, she is like having a moment, which is, and Harry's like in a sustained kind of state. He doesn't have like this huge hit that's on the radio right now. You know, he's just like so big that he can't fail anymore, but he's not at his like hottest right now. So the fact that Pink Panther has decided not to do this, even though she hasn't made millions of dollars like Harry did literally within a year of just like touring and doing whatever the fuck with One Direction, right? Like Harry made so much money within like 4 or 5 years of being in the band. He could genuinely chill out with the way that he's moving now, yet here we are. Also, his products, like his like nail polish and shit like that, always absolute bullshit. Like it costs so much money for what, girl? It's literally just nail polish, not even innovative formulas or some shit. None of the cat eye bullshit like this, for example. Like it's just simple nail polish and you're selling it for what? That much money? It's crazy. An incredible level of greed, honestly. I think if people are not going to turn away from him because of that, like how some people did with Taylor Swift, I really don't know what those people are thinking of then, because statistically speaking, he can't have that big of a fandom without at least 80 to 90% of that fandom being working class. You know what I mean? Even if they're well off, they would still be working class. So it's just a ridiculous situation, but it does show you how fake the whole treat people with kindness bullshit is, because not just because of the pricing and stuff like that, but because this is something, this statement that is usually used as a lightning rod to divert any and all criticism. This is kind of the same reason why Selena Gomez loves that shit so much. And the thing is, I loved Selena growing up. She was my Disney girl. I've said that before. Everyone has a designated Disney girl. Everybody does. Mine was Selena. And she had that song like kill 'em with kindness. It's one of those songs that only someone who is a fence sitter would make. A lot of those grand statements of like, we should all be together. This is another statement or tagline or whatever the hell you would call that Harry is using right now. It's something like we belong together or something along those lines. It's very fake, absolute bullshit. And I'm not saying that it needs to be universally applied or something like that. If that's your promotional material or your tagline or whatever. But I think that a lot of us are probably quite familiar with this concept of we should just all get along, you guys. When in reality, you do still support one side or the other. You still have an ideology. All of us have an ideology. All of us have bias. This is what I hate about current landscape of journalism, for example. You're supposed to have no political affiliation. Somehow you're supposed to have a political following to get a job in journalism. Like, for example, with CBC, they have that. Any Canadian big like news channel, they will ask for that in the contract, that you don't have political leanings. Which is idiotic. Like, even if you think you don't have them, which honestly makes you a really bad journalist if you think that you don't have bias. But on top of it all, it's just like absolute bullshit. Like you have to be, I think you have to be clear about your biases as a journalist or someone who reports on something important. You should be coming straight out and saying it to people. What, like, where do you stand? Where do you lean? And specifically on an international, like, political spectrum, like, just so everybody has an idea of how, like, where your bias is. And the fact that we don't talk about those things, it just tells me that they want to pretend like there is no bias while they're completely reporting from a right-wing side of things, which is just like amazing. And it's only right-wingers and like faux left-leaning who are actually right-wingers who are really adamant about not being straightforward about these things. A similar idea of like, let me just say this vague peace on earth, make love not war type shit, right? But then not actually have a clear understanding of what the hell you actually see as peace. Because the thing is, some people tell you peace and love, and what they mean is shut the fuck up and take it. So I'm just saying, like, it's not all equal, girl. And whenever people say these things, it's like, it's either you just don't know what the hell you're talking about and you're like a little dumb, or you're just being dishonest. And this is all falling into the same category as the gratefulness issue. I guess no one has talked about it in this way, so I can't really reference anything. And honestly, I should make a project dedicated to it, because it's been like one of those things that piss me off so much about North American culture or Western culture. I'm not sure how far it is and how universal it is, really, culturally speaking, things like that. But this whole idea of like being benefiting from something or being something and then thinking that it absolves you entirely of any criticism if you say that you're grateful for it. I should make a whole project on that because I have a lot to say about it, and I have never seen anyone discussing it in full or discussing it in general, honestly. And it's one of those things that just piss me off to like no end, for real. Genuinely one of the things that make me want to jump somebody every single time. Even though, yes, K-pop is very much a capitalist hellhole of an industry. I do really want to talk about the visuals for Kiki, their release. What is the name of it? I think it's 404. Not the actual song, I mean like the whole EP. First of all, the EP is pretty good, has pretty good production. And if you like really early 2000s Japanese pop vibe, I think you should check it out because it just has that flavor, especially visually speaking. So if you're a visuals person, I think you're gonna enjoy it a lot, because that music video for Delulu, first and foremost, yeah, it's a dumb name. Yeah, 100% it is. I do not like the lyrics the same way as Nona. I love Nona, for example, their music. But the lyrics, girl, it's like everybody is out there making get your back, girl type of 2016 or 2013 music, like lyrically. And I'm just sitting here like, have you bitches been in the dark, in a cave, under a rock this entire time? I just don't understand why you're coming in with ad libs in the background being like, work, 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 work. I'm gonna work, 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 collect my money, work, work, work. I think we're past this. I think we're collectively past this. Not even individually. Like individually, I've been past this for a long time, but I feel like we're collectively pissed off enough to not have this type of music, this type of lyrics in our music. So I genuinely, it's kind of like brats have really great music, but that song where it's like working overtime, you got a lot to do and you gotta do it if you wanna have what you want, yada yada. It's kind of like Work Bitch by Britney, the same genre of lyrics. So ignore the lyrics entirely. Thank you very much. Look at the music video. The music video is giving me this European 2000s flair that really hits. And also, I think I told you it's also like the Japanese pop, specifically in terms of visuals of the music videos. I have one of the music videos that I like from that era in the intro to the podcast. Like if you look at the visuals, there's like a couple of cuts from a music video that I really like that's from that era. And I think it works really well. The way that they've done it, it's really beautiful. It works really well with music. Gorgina, it's so good. If you love good visuals, girl, look at it. The packaging for their stuff, cute as hell. I love packagings, especially when they're like conceptually really fun. Too bad that all of this shit connects to something evil, but we gotta enjoy what we can while we're at it. The entire EP is pretty sweet, actually. Let me see if there's anything like to put in the in the positive corner, because I definitely kind of missed that part when prepping. I did not put anything fun down, which is kind of like fucked up of me actually, because I do enjoy adding a little bit of something fun at the end. But is Kiki fun enough? I hope so. I really do hope so. I just opened Twitter just to go and like see what I bookmarked, if there's anything fun. And I opened it to Mark Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada, hugging Hudson Williams with Hudson's leg all the way up and him holding it. Listen, yes, our government is evil, sure, but this is kind of funny. Like I can't lie. This is quite entertaining. Oh, so my entire For You page right now is just this shit. Right. Oh, I also wanted another note that I put down. It's not really fun, but whatever. So Ariana had a photo shoot with Vogue Japan. She's got 6 fingers in it. Clearly there's been some use of AI in that picture. And first and foremost, how do you not notice that? How do you not fucking notice that? Like, what is going on? And on top of it all, I think that most things that used to represent some kind of, artistic or at least commercial artistic integrity, like Vogue, again, take that with a grain of salt because we all know what I think about Vogue and their work, their subpar imitation of what work is. I guess they decided to just like fucking phone it in entirely now. And I mean, they've been doing it for a really long time, but I thought that they would be a bit more hesitant with using AI in their work. And the fact that they did it for such an underwhelming image is what's killing me, bitch. Like, they went in, took the most, like, a boring ass shot with absolutely nothing going on, flat fuck ass image with a bunch of floral and this like 60s motif going on in terms of styling and the colors especially, like this banana yellow and this shade of green, the combination of them very 60s coded. And they decided to just take a boring ass shot, not try at all at your job as a photographer or a makeup artist or a stylist or an art director, and then add AI editing on top of it. Right. These mofos are making like bank. Just so you guys remember this, just so you guys remember that while while our population is super educated and capable, we've got lazy ass bitches at the top doing this type of work and wanting to get accolades for it now too. Darren Aronofsky just released a trailer for an AI movie, and the funniest thing is, first of all, that's so fucking dumb. But second of all, sir, I think you don't understand that no one's even gonna watch it as a joke, because like how people love to watch bad movies because they're bad, like they're so bad it's kind of good, the whole camp thing of it all. Well, that's the thing, that to get camp, there's a very important portion of it that we have discussed in the episode on camp that Sontag talked about. You absolutely have to put in effort. That's part of camp. It's not camp if you are phoning it in on purpose. It has to be heightened, it has to be committed to, it has to be so grand that it's too much and it turns into like a mockery of itself, or a maybe not a mockery but a commentary on itself. It kind of becomes like so far. Or even The Room, which is a horrible ass movie, has so many different scenes, so many different shots, and all of the people who are there were actually there to commit and do it. You don't get camp by doing nothing. You don't get camp by pressing a button. And I think that with all of these people, like, it's just kind of showing you how little those directors understand about visual arts, which is so fucking weird. You're a director, that's like part of your whole shtick. But I did notice when I was in school that a lot of like film production department people are not very well versed in art history or understanding of conceptual art. They're quite behind on all that shit. And I think, I don't know why, dude. I think it's because probably most of the courses you take, if you only take film production, is like hands-on stuff, and there is no theory whatsoever, except for maybe the production side of things, where you actually have to learn how to like do producing. But producing has nothing to do with the actual critical thinking of it all when it comes to works of art. So I guess that's why, I don't know, dumbass shit. And I don't think anyone's gonna watch it even for the sake of just like laughing at it, because even the trailer, it's not so bad it's good. It is nothing. No one had to go out there and put all that makeup on and put those lights up and have like a whole fucking crew and cast and director and whomever else working together and showing up 50 people to a fucking set every day for a month to create this. So there was no commitment. It doesn't feel like there was something put into it and it missed the mark. It's actually just nothing. It's not bad, it's not good, because it is nothing. Anyway, hope you guys are having a good week. I'm gonna be gone for like 5 days, going to Vancouver to do some things, and that's why if you are on Patreon, there's not gonna be a live this Sunday. We'll do something else next time. So hope you're having a good day. Bye.